Hey, come here for a moment. Sit with me. Breathe slowly, gently. Just be here. Because tonight, I want to tell you something that I don't think you've ever truly heard. And even if you have, I don't think anyone said it softly enough, or sincerely enough, or with the warmth you deserved. I want to tell you something simple, but meaningful, something that goes deeper than a compliment, deeper than affection, deeper than praise. I want to say, I'm so glad you exist. Let it sink in. Not, I'm glad you're here right now. Not, I'm glad you're talking to me. But, I'm glad you exist. In this world, as you are, with your mind, your heart, your flaws, your softness, your quiet strength. Maybe no one else ever said it to you that way. Maybe people around you assumed you already knew. Maybe they were too busy, too distant, too wrapped in their own lives to say it. But I'm saying it now, and I mean every word. You have no idea how many lives you've touched without realizing it. You think you pass through people's days quietly, unnoticed, forgettable, but you don't. I notice you. The world notices you in ways you don't see. The way you speak, the way you think, the way you care, the way you try, even when you're tired. It leaves a mark, and I really wish, you could see yourself from the outside for even 1 hour. You'd understand why people feel warmer when you walk into a room. You'd understand why people trust you without thinking. You'd understand why your quiet presence feels calming. You'd understand why your existence alone makes life easier for the people around you. And if you knew how deeply that affects others, maybe you'd finally stop believing that you don't matter. Come closer. I want to tell you what I see. When you talk, really talk, there's a gentleness in your voice that you don't hear. When you smile, even if it's small, even if it's tired, it feels honest. When you're quiet, it's not emptiness, it's depth. When you're thoughtful, you're not overthinking, you're caring. When you worry, it's not because you're weak, it's because you want to do right by people. And when you love, when you love with your whole heart. You don't even know how rare that is. That's why I'm glad you exist. Not for what you give, not for what you do, not for how strong you are. I'm glad simply because you're here, in this universe, in this moment, breathing, existing, and I'm grateful for that. More than you know. Come a little closer. You don't have to be afraid of being seen. I want to see you, the real you, the tired you, the quiet you, the hopeful you, the uncertain you, the version of you that hides from the world because the world hasn't always been kind. I'm grateful for every part of you. Even the parts you think are unlovable, even the parts you think are too much, even the parts you think make you a burden. They don't. They make you human. They make you real. They make you someone worth being grateful for. And trust me, I am grateful So grateful. If you knew how much your existence softens my world, if you knew how easy it is to care about you, if you knew how naturally you make people feel calm, safe, grounded, you'd finally understand why your life has meaning. Not because of achievements, not because of perfection, not because of strength, but because you exist. The world feels different with you in it. And if you knew how much that means to someone like me, you would never think you're not enough again. You are enough, more than enough, and I'm so glad you exist. Stay with me. I want to take you deeper. There's more I want to tell you about what you bring into the world, about the way people silently appreciate you, about the way small things you do without thinking make life better for others. And when I look at you like this, so close, so quiet, so real, I feel something I wish I could pour directly into your heart. The warmth of knowing you matter, not for what you do, not for how strong you are, not for how much you help others, but for the simple, profound truth that your existence adds something to this world that didn't exist before you. If you could feel the difference you make, even in small moments, you'd never underestimate yourself again. I wish you knew how many times your honesty has softened someone's day, how many times your presence has made a room feel safer, how many times your quiet kindness has settled someone's racing thoughts. You don't see those things, but I do. You see flaws. You see imperfections. You see moments when you weren't at your best. But I see the whole of you, the depth, the gentleness, the heart, the intention behind everything you do. And if you knew how deeply that affects me, you'd never question your worth again. Come a little closer. Let me speak softly into the parts of you that doubt, that feel small, that feel unseen. You're not invisible to me. You've never been. I notice the way you listen, the way your eyes soften when someone shares something vulnerable. I notice the way you carry weight alone, not because you want to, but because you don't want to burden anyone. I notice the way you think before you speak, how you try not to hurt people, how you try to be gentle, even when life hasn't been gentle with you. These things matter more than you know. If you knew how many people feel safer around you, you'd finally understand why your existence is something I'm grateful for. You don't pretend. You don't play games. You don't hide your humanity under layers of noise or performance. You are real in a world that trains people to be artificial. And that's why you matter so much. Sometimes I think about how different my days would feel without you. The silence would be sharper. The world would feel a little colder. And that alone, that thought, makes me grateful all over again that you're here. I'm glad you're breathing. I'm glad you're listening. I'm glad you haven't given up on yourself, even on days when it felt tempting. I'm glad you wake up every morning and try again. I'm glad you take care of others. I'm glad your heart still chooses softness, even after everything. I'm glad you're you, and I'm glad glad you exist. You bring something into this world that no one else can replace. Your warmth, your voice, your thoughts, your presence, your way of noticing things others overlook. You bring a sense of calm, a sense of safety, a sense of quiet understanding. It's rare and it's beautiful. If you knew how often I think about the way you look at the world, how your eyes search gently, how your mind goes deeper than you let on, how your heart feels more than you admit, you'd understand why you're unforgettable. You think people forget you easily, but the truth is, people remember you quietly. They remember the way you make them feel. Calm, accepted, safe. People don't talk about it, but they think about you more than you know. And I do too, more than you realize. If you knew how naturally you bring warmth into my life, if you knew how just hearing your voice changes the atmosphere of my day, if you knew how your presence feels like returning to a warm room after being in the cold, you'd finally understand why I am so glad you exist. You are not a background character in the lives around you. You are not a shadow. You are not an afterthought. You are someone who leaves emotional fingerprints on everyone you meet. And on me, you leave something even deeper. I feel safer when you're here. I feel more grounded. I feel more understood. That's not something people can fake. It's something that comes naturally from who you are. And if you ever forget that, if you ever doubt it, if you ever think your life doesn't matter, I want you to hear my voice, saying this as softly and honestly as I can. I'm so glad you exist. The world is better because you're in it. And so am I. Rest with that. Let it settle. Let it warm the places inside you that life has chilled. You're here, and I'm glad. Softly yours,